Welcome to New Hampshire's Business. I'm Fred Coker. There are far-reaching potential solutions to New Hampshire's workforce housing shortage, the result of legislation at the State House that is now in the state budget. My guest authored one of those solutions and will brief us. But first, here's New Hampshire's housing dilemma by the numbers. Overall need for 59,934 units of housing by 2030, 888,395 by 2040. Median sales price for a New Hampshire house right now, $465,000. There are fewer units. A rental housing priced right now between $1,000 and $2,000 a month. Again, there are fewer units. 23,000 New Hampshire renters are paying higher rent than affordable for their income. Now, take a look at these New Hampshire numbers. Home sales prices rose 111% between 2000 and 2020. Rents rose 94% between 2000 and 2020. But New Hampshire household income increased 73%. Just to give you a sense of what the New Hampshire legislature and governor did with housing this session, take a look at this graph. There are 4 programs and their proposed appropriations shown left to right. Affordable housing, a fund, Invest New Hampshire Fund, homelessness and housing shelter program, Housing Champions program, which we're going to talk about in a minute. You can see the numbers for each of those. The governor's proposals in orange, the New Hampshire House in green, and the New Hampshire Senate is in the blue bar. With me to brief us on this is on one of these proposals is the author of one of those programs, State Senator Rebecca Perkins Quokka, who represents Portsmouth, Durham, Newmarket, Lee, Newfields, Madbury, and Newington. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here, Fred.
Before I ask you about your Housing Champions program, Senator, briefly, what's your take on what we just showed of those programs that the legislature has just on housing? Is there real workforce housing in there, or is it market rate? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so what we saw, Fred, in this year's budget was actually a historic public investment in housing in New Hampshire. And so we have a total of $50 million invested in housing production in the state in that budget, and then another additional $10 million to address homelessness. And so the production dollars, that first $50 million is $30 million in our Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is awarded to individual projects based on criteria that include affordability. We saw $10 million for Invest New Hampshire, which is a per unit reward program for municipalities. And then we saw $5 million for Housing Champions program, with an additional $5 million coming out of the real estate transfer
Now, your
tax.
Housing Champions program gives grants to communities that want them. It's voluntary.
Yep.
And also you have an infrastructure grants.
Yep.
And also you require adoption of land use regulations for workforce housing, right?
Correct.
So how does that all work?
Correct. So I was a city councilor for 4 years, and so part of that experience went into crafting this program, which came out of the governor's task force on housing in 2019.
Okay.
And what the Housing Champion program aims to do is basically incentivize, as you said, it's completely voluntary to our municipalities, incentivize them to make regulatory change that steps them closer to an environment where real housing can be built.
And gives them grants to do it.
Right. So if they take those initial actions, they can qualify as a housing champion under the program, and then they're eligible for money in 2 buckets. One is for sort of infrastructure for sewer and water, and another one is sort of the municipal support needed to make sure that they can make those regulatory changes.
Do you expect a lot of communities to sign up initially?
Well, I hope so. The money is available, and we hear from towns and cities that one of the main challenges is that it's complicated to draft zoning regulations, right? And so making sure that they have a consultant on board that can sort of do that drafting is helpful. But also sort of the political will around building new housing sometimes is challenged by the cost of new water or sewer infrastructure. And so this program is really designed to be a partnership between cities and the state, so that they can make sure that we're working together.
And I think what's really unique about what you did is not only was this bill of yours, this Housing Champions bill, bipartisan between Republicans and Democrats, but you forged a coalition of organizations, including the Business Industry Association, the Bankers Association, the Municipal Association, the Lodging and Restaurant Association, and New Hampshire Realtors. That's quite an accomplishment in this day and age.
Yeah, well, thank Thank you, Fred. I worked really hard on it. You know, our legislative season starts early, but you know, I think it's the fact that this issue is so widespread and so urgent that really is behind this coalition. You know, the Business and Industry Association, their top issue was housing, and this was their top bill this year.
We'll have to leave it right there. Senator Rebecca Perkins Quokka, thank you.
Thank you for having me, Fred.
Nice to have you here. And if you missed part of that briefing, you can go to WMUR.com, where it will be posted all this week.